All right, well, here is this weekend's project. That is my sprinkler system box, and it's a little ragged out, as you can see. So I'm gonna replace it. By the way, been doing a lot in the backyard. Gotta clean that up too at some point. All right, so this thing is an old Rainbird system, and a little clapped out. It still works, but I'm gonna replace it with something that's got wireless. I'm gonna replace the sprinkler controller with an OpenSprinkler, and I've got a new enclosure and all that stuff. But I got to get Wi-Fi out here so that it will reach, and then I'll have to get the OpenSprinkler hooked back up. Now this thing has power coming in, and inside of here, you'll see it's got a transformer, and so I can, I believe, run everything off of that, because 24 volts, I believe. And so it's got mains coming in, then we got a transformer, so that'll kick it down, and then I can hook everything up. Yeah, so that's what we got to do. All right, so here we can see on the MHP grill, very nice tool stand here. We've got a little PoE router, and so that probably not worth what I paid, but using Unifi keeps everything on the same brand, and I know it's all going to work. And then I've got the little Swiss Army knife. So this is an outdoor rated Wi-Fi unit that I'm going to have to mount on the wall, and it's going to be a little bit of a pain because the walls are stucco, so I'm going to have to potentially hammer drill to get this thing mounted, and I'm going to have to think about how to mount it. But this is what's going to be going in up here. This is going to be above the soffit in the dry. This will be outside in the wet. So let's see how it goes.
So installing the Wi-Fi ended up being a bit more of a pain than I wanted it to be. Like, it was just brutally hot outside. And once I got up there and got under the soffit, I realized that the rafter was not quite tall enough to accommodate the little 4-port router. So I ended up having to use like double-sided tape and sticking it to the top of the outside wall, which is not optimal, but there just wasn't enough room to do much else up there. It is outdoor rated, so everything should be fine. I'm using, outdoor rated cable that I've made and outdoor rated connectors and everything, so it should all be okay. It wasn't quite as smooth. At the end of the day, I did get it done though, and I tested it, and now I've got really good Wi-Fi signal all the way out to where the sprinkler box will be.
382 up? No, 382 down, 339 up. That's not bad. All right, well, this is what I've got to fix all the problems. This is the OpenSprinkler. So inside of this thing, this will be important later. We got the main units. Let's go ahead and get it open. I hadn't opened this thing yet. So, I mean, obviously this sprinkler controller on this side, the most important thing for me is this power input. This takes a 24 volt AC input, which I have because I've been able to get the transformer out of that other box. And so because of that, I can use that to power this. There is also an expander port on this side, which you can see. So in addition, it's got this little RF port, and apparently you can put in some sort of radio module that will allow this thing to control other stuff via radio that is not Wi-Fi, because it's ESP32 based, I believe, and so this thing has Wi-Fi on board. On the other side, you have an Ethernet port. So basically there's another module you can plug in if you want to hardwire Ethernet to this thing, which I won't. I don't need that because I have installed a Wi-Fi router outdoors so that this thing should get good connectivity. You got 3 buttons on top and a little bitty display screen. And then here on the bottom, this is the business end. So you're going to get your 24 volt AC in, and then these are how it controls your sprinklers. So mine has a pump, and the pump is a 240 volt pump. However, it's controlled by a solenoid that is 24 volts. And so basically you just use one of your zones, and that will be the pump relay. And then the others I can use for the solenoids for the sprinklers. And so I'll be using 5 of these zones because I got 4 sprinkler zones and then I'll need one for the pump. You've also got some inputs over here for sensors and stuff, which I will not be using. So I need to install this in an enclosure. So here's the Chinese plastic enclosure that I got off Amazon. And so you can see how this thing's gonna be laid out inside. I haven't really decided yet on the orientation. I think I want to do it like this where the latches face down, but it's got these ridges on the top and bottom, which makes me think it's meant to be installed vertically. It's supposed to be like IP67. It's got a pretty good seal, and when you close it, it does feel... It feels like it's locking up pretty tight. So I don't know that the orientation matters. Having it this way will make it kind of more logical to me. It comes with a couple of grommets too for passing through the wiring. So I'm gonna try to mount this somewhere over here. And then I think I'm gonna have to create like a 3D print or something. This thing, the mount, you can see, it's meant for kind of a regular old knockout on electrical box is basically what that is. And I saved the nut for that. So I'm thinking I can make a little 3D print bracket to mount this thing on. It's not gonna be under any torque or anything. And then, again, this will basically be the layout. So I'll knock a couple holes in the bottom for the grommets, and I'll be able to line this stuff out. It does look like the holes on this grid line up really well to the mounting screw holes on the OpenSprinkler, so I should just be able to direct mount this thing with no problems at all. So let's get to it. All right, we got her going our way now. So I've got this mounted in there. One of my screw holes didn't line up. Well, it did line up. There's something underneath this. There's like a standoff that was in the way, but found some screws that would work just by digging through my pile of junk. I was able to get the little pass-throughs installed. Used a little hole drill that wasn't quite big enough, but then I used a deburring tool. In this case is plastic, and it cut right through there. Got the mounting hardware on. I've 3D printed a little bracket for the transformer. So this thing fits on there okay, and then I can use this old nut. Snugs on there well enough. So now I'll be able to mount that. So the bracket I 3D printed out of ASA. That way, if this thing gets warm, it shouldn't cause too many problems. Yeah, that's mounted pretty good. And so, yeah, there you go. That's what it'll look like all mounted up. So it's all just the wiring now. Now I just got to get it wired up. So I've got the plug that I'll put on the output of the transformer. That'll plug in here. Still got to figure out where I can put that ground on it. But then I'll have to feed in the other wires, get this thing wired up. That'll all be pretty much outside except for the power. I can do that inside. The wiring though, I'll have to wait. I need to install some new mounting posts for this thing because the existing ones are completely ragged out. So I'm gonna have to cut up treated post, and then we can get this thing installed. So quickly, before I go back outside to work on this, one thing I did read and is true, you can actually pull these terminal blocks out to wire them up and then plug them back in, which is a really nice touch because it can be really fiddly getting wires to fit. Of course, I'm doing this one-handed and making it look even more fiddly than it is, but being able to disconnect that whole block and then do your wiring and then just shove the whole thing back in, that's a really nice touch. Yep, so we got it wired up. Again, those terminal blocks really do make it a lot easier. So everything's hooked up, and I guess it's time to give this thing a test. So I'm gonna go flip the breaker and we'll see what we got. So it's gonna be hard with the lighting. You probably just can't see that, I guess. The lights, the screen is very, very dim, but yeah, it's on. We got power, so now I need to get it hooked onto the Wi-Fi, and then I can start using it.
So let's take a look at the OpenSprinkler interface. You can access it through your local network. There will be an IP address that you can find on the display of the OpenSprinkler that'll tell you where to go. So this is what my setup looks like. You can see I've got S1 set up as the master, and that's how you configure a pump. Pumps are controlled by the same solenoid interfaces. And so, and again, that depends on what type of pump you got, but on mine, it's controlled by the same interface. And so down here in the bottom right, you'll see a little menu, and here's where you can change all of the options and everything. And so the configure master, this is where I've got my master station set up as the first solenoid relay. And you can even program in a little pre-start and shut down sequence. So mine will start 5 seconds before the zones, and it will shut down 5 seconds after the zones. And then you can also build in like weather and moisture sensors and stuff like that that connect the device. If you give it internet access, you can even select weather providers, and it will try to incorporate how much rain is forecasted and stuff like that. So it's got quite a few features built into it. Now, I don't really intend to use this because I'm going to be using it with Home Assistant, but I figured you'd probably want to see what it looked like. You can, of course, also do different resets and things through the web interface, and there are even more options up here in the upper left with localization, changing your password, rebooting the system, getting diagnostics, and things like that. To set up the on-device routines, it's got these programs, and of course, you can do full-on programs, or you can do, run once and, rain delays and all kinds of stuff. Again, I don't have anything configured yet, and I don't actually plan on using any of these programs, but they do seem to be pretty easy to set up. You just, add it, give it a name. You can say whether or not you want it to use the weather adjustments, what dates you want it to run. Do you want it weekly, monthly, what days of the week, all kinds of stuff, what zones, how long. There seems to be quite a bit of flexibility, and I think there's also a built-in way to view all your different programs of what will run where. So I like the interface pretty decently. There's also an app that you can use on your phone. So if you don't want to go through a web interface, the app basically looks exactly the same. Now for me, I plan on managing it through Home Assistant. So there is not an integration provided by OpenSprinkler. It is, though, available through HACS. This is the Home Assistant Community Store, and so if you search for OpenSprinkler, that is all one word, you will find that someone has built an OpenSprinkler integration, and so if you download that, and then I suggest you also get the OpenSprinkler card, and all this is something that you can add to your dashboard, which I'll show you in a second. Once you have this integration, you can go back through your devices and services, and then you'll be able to add that integration by searching again for OpenSprinkler. Once you do that, it will ask you for the device's IP address and the password, and then you'll have access to your OpenSprinkler. And that integration will provide you visibility into all of the stations, what's enabled, what's disabled. It will also show you whether any of the stations are currently running. It's even nice that it recognizes the master and it gives it a little pump logo. It's got some basic diagnostics and things like that also. Beyond that, this integration also has some specific stuff, obviously, for OpenSprinkler, where you can set up run once programs and things like that using automations and actions. So I'm not going to go into that in depth because, again, it's going to be very specific to how you want things to run, but it is possible. And so this is my plan, that I'm going to use this integration, and then I'm going to use automations, and I can pull in things like the weather forecast and Home Assistant and my other soil moisture sensors. I'm going to get a rain gauge and some other stuff. And then it will be pretty easy to set up some automations so that the sprinklers will only run when they need to, when I want them to, and all that can be managed from Home Assistant. Now, the little card that gets added is just this right here. You can see it says sprinkler, and if you click on the little dot menu, it's just a way to quick view everything from the integration. There's nothing really that special about it, but it is a nice little feature to have so that you can quickly get access to all this stuff. And also, of course, if you click in, you can easily see, when your stuff's been running and stuff like that.
Okay, well, I'm finally to the point where I can test this thing out. It is the next day, but it's kind of worn out after I got all this done. So the system just loads up a IP address that you can navigate to in your local network, or you can use their app. I've got mine set up, and I have the pump configured on one of the channels, so it will fire when the others fire. So I can do some testing here, and it makes it very easy because you don't have to get out and mess with your controller. You can just do it all wirelessly. So let's see, I should be getting some sprinklers. Yeah, there we go. I've got it so the pump kicks on a little bit before they come on. So they're working out pretty good. Let's do the next zone. Do a quick run on it. So I don't know what's going on there, if the solenoids are getting crossed. It could just be residual pressure or something in the line. Oh, there's one over there. This one actually goes around front, that zone. Do the next one. This should be in the backyard. Somewhere. Oh, there we go. No. Well. Looks like I'll need to replace some. Oh yeah, where I had the trees taken out. Ugh. Well, anyway, so things are working. I just got a little bit of cleanup back here and replace a couple of sprinkler heads probably. But I think we'll cut it there. Everything seems to be working. I've got all the automations and stuff to build, but I really can't worry about that until I get these sprinkler heads replaced and that broken one fixed. But if you have any questions or anything, feel free to leave a comment down below. If I have any troubles, I'll also make a note of it and leave it down there so that anybody can find it. Otherwise, as always, I appreciate your time. Thanks.